Hey guys, welcome back. Day 9. So we're getting into some stuff where we're actually playing a tune. So today we're going to look at Blame It On My Youth, and we're looking at, if you just stumbled across this video, we're looking at putting into practice some of the things that we've learnt about the diminished sixth scale made famous by Barry Harris. So we're doing that. This is day 9. Let's get into it. All right, so I'm using, this is a great song anyway, Blame It On My Youth. It's a song that I've been playing for many years. All right, it's a beautiful tune, and I haven't really applied diminished sixth scale ideas, principles to this piece before. So this is a bit of a fun experiment for me, and I think hopefully you guys will enjoy it too as you join me with it. So we'll see if we can kind of learn some of those things. Now I'm using the Real Book, the new Real Book's version of Blame It On My Youth. If you don't have a copy of it, give a shout out to me and I'll see what I can do, if I can find something on the net for you somewhere. All right. So let's get into it. So the first thing I thought maybe we could think about is, now it's in the key of E flat, so I would strongly suggest you just practice the E flat one, do all those things that we said, we needed to practice, right? So the contrary motion. Oops, I missed something there, didn't I? There we go. All right, do the thirds as well, right? And just do all those things that kind of help you to know what's going on, all right? Practice the sixths and the diminished chords. That's worthwhile doing. All right, because we're going to try and use some of that, and also practice those other ones where we were using the sevenths, and we're getting these kinds of really awesome sounds, in my opinion, anyway. All right, so there's some of the chords that we're kind of thinking about, and of course, when we're improvising, we'll try and think about how we use that B natural more often than we would normally in the key of E flat. All right, so why don't we, I'm just going to kind of play it and talk you through what's going through in my mind, and then hopefully you can just grab some of those ideas and principles and make them your own, okay? That's what I'm hoping is the plan for this lesson, okay? I mean, this is a fairly advanced lesson, so I'm hoping that you've got a pretty good idea of jazz chords and all that kind of stuff already for this one. So let's see how we go. All right, so I'm going to start off with like just a simple voicing like that there, 1, 5, 7, 3. But maybe what we can do is think about some of those thirds. You know how we practice doing the thirds? Why don't we practice, just kind of that thing, oh yeah, that's right. All right, so that's in thirds, right? Just thirds, well, had an octave apart, right? So it's a 10th. So we can think maybe some things like that. You can get like something like that in. And then go, or you could, that's that diminished chord, right? Instead of the minor 7. So you could, here's the minor 7, G minor 7, right? Normal, just kind of acts as a third voicings there. Here's the, and then that would be kind of that G, which is really a variation of E flat, really. We're kind of, when we looked at those seventh chords and we went up, and we kind of said, well, look, it's kind of like we're doing a major chord, some kind of variation of the consonant notes of E flat, of the scale, in this case E flat, and the dominant chord with some, some kind of variation of extensions and alterations and stuff like that, right? So when we get ready, so that there is, kind of like a G7, flat 9, sharp 5, and we looked at how the relationship between G7 is similar to B flat, you know. And so if you did particularly a flat 9, you can play all of those there. And so there's a bunch of diminished chords here too. So think about that diminished chords are the same chords, and that diminished chords is really kind of a flattened ninth dominant chord if you wanted to, you know, put a different bass note in there. And then we can get a whole bunch of fun things going on. So when we get to this E diminished 7 over here, we'll do some kind of interesting things, you know, on that when we get going. All right, so let's try the E flat. Now, I'm going to think consonant notes here versus, you know, notes that aren't. Does that work? No, probably not. That works, right? And then you've got maybe that G minor chord there. I'm just going to play kind of a standard C minor there. I'm using the 4th instead of the. Then I kind of end up with that E flat. I have all those 4ths there. That's kind of nice. Here's an F minor chord. Maybe instead of the F minor chord here, we could do the last couple of chords. You know, like if we were playing. We can kind of maybe move up like that, right? The D, that's the 7 chord, right? Now, normally the 7 chord, no, that's right, yeah. That's the 7 chord, right? Which is really an extension of the 5 chord, okay? So if we were doing, I'm going to go the D minor. D minor. Yeah, I don't know. Probably not. It doesn't. Maybe it doesn't work there. All right. That G7 works nicely there. If you go the D minor 7 to the G7, that kind of works nicely there before we go to that E diminished there. So, I mean, you could just use the F minor, of course, it's there, it's what's written, right? And if you wanted to, you could, the diminished would work there. But there's another diminished chord coming, so, you know, maybe there's too much diminished going on, you know, in my mind there is anyway. So anyway, what have we got so far? Using some thirds. Now, if we could think just as you do think of those thirds, think it's either the major chord or the diminished chord. Okay, so major, diminished, major, diminished, major, diminished, etc. Right? Major, diminished, major, diminished, major, diminished. That doesn't seem right. All right, we've got all those different sort of chords going on there. Maybe you could do, yeah, kind of end up with the same chord there. Let's just stick with that. D minor 7, flat 5, G7, flat 9, and then we've got this E diminished chord here. Now, it's really like a C7 flat 9 in some ways, right? It's going to the F, right? You know, if you do the E diminished, it's like the E wants to lead up to that F, right? You can hear that. If you play the C, you can kind of hear it. It pretty much functions the same way, right? Now what I'm going to do, instead of playing the C, I'm going to play a different one. So the options are E flat, F sharp, or A, right? I might play E flat just because I can, right? So we have that D minor 7, the G7, then let's go to the E flat diminished. No, sorry, hang on, what we're doing, C, E flat, yeah. E flat with a flat 9. E flat 7, flat 9. Okay, so D minor 7. You've got to probably do that quickly and then into the, yeah, I don't know if that works. Maybe the E. So the E flat there, or just the E diminished, or the C. I think the C is going to work. And then the C, yeah, that probably works. Or just the C dominant with a sharp 9 there. Maybe. You could add some thirds in there. You know, you could think the contrary motion. That might work nicely there as well. There's a B7 to a B flat 13, flat 9 there. Let's move on. Let's see what's next. F minor 7. Why don't we do some fourths? Let's go, instead of that E diminished 7, why don't we do G7? All right, because it's related, okay? And to my ear, it wants to, because our bass note's going up, sort of wants to go to the A flat chord there instead of the F minor. I don't know, maybe. Tritone substitute. Let's do that G minor chord there. Let's do that diminished, half diminished. Let's do that B natural, because the C's next, right? That's all right. Why don't we for the C, D, F, B flat? Let's harmonize every single note, right? So C, let's harmonize either as an E flat chord or a diminished chord, okay? Because we're in the key of E flat, right? So let's do. So we've got that, and then. So because the C is one of the consonant notes, we'll do that. The D is one of the diminished ones. The F is a diminished one as well, so we'll do that. And then we go to the G minor. Let's go to the G minor after that, right? So we got. That's okay. Maybe we could probably do the same here with the E flat. What should we do there? Maybe back to the thirds there. So the A flat. Is that what we're doing? Yeah, we're doing the A. We had before. Let's just go back a little bit there. What did we have? We had the F minor. I'm going from. I'll go from. Let's go back to here. We had the F minor, the G7, sharp 5, flat 9, sharp 9. I'm so confused tonight. A flat. Some thirds, some fourths there. I don't remember what we did before. And let's do that B. All right. Now it is a ballad, so it's it's not a bebop tune, but you can still see how that works nicely, right? Now what do we have? We're going to harmonise every note there. All right. Now you could, I guess, do the same thing here. Yep, so we've got, you know, the A flat would be, just for practice, it's probably worth having a go anyway. So you've got the diminished chord, one of the non-diminished chords, all right, non-diminished chord again for the B flat. So you, some kind of E flat, you know, I'm using a D there, right? It's still kind of, and here's the diminished one, back to, if you use the 7 or the 6, I just really like the 7 more than I do the 6, right? Now, whenever you're doing the diminished, of course, instead of the diminished, you could do the dominant, right? So if we're doing the dominant there, the diminished instead of the dominant, we could see that as a B flat dominant. We could see that as a G dominant. We could see that as an E dominant. So we could go da, B. Let's do G dominant. And then when we go to the C, maybe go to the A flat. Kind of sounds nice. If you went to the F minor, G to the F minor, or if we went an E dominant, that would kind of work there too, I think. Now we've got another consonant chord, or the B flat 7 if you want to do, you know, so, but if you're doing the consonant, and there's another dominant chord there. All right, and you could do some kind of interesting voicing there to make that kind of a little bit more exciting as well. You know, if you're thinking of it as an E7 of some sort, you know, you can kind of use whatever you want, you know, and you can use other things for more extensions if you want to kind of treat it even more, you know, kind of interesting. I'm going to do this as an E7. There's using that B natural there, a little bit there. All right, what have we got left? D minor 7, flat 5. That's already one of those ones that just naturally happens, right? Now you could think of some of the other notes that kind of work there. All the diminished chords work there. You could kind of do that, where you know, harmonize each note. All right. All right. Now there is more to the song, but I'm going to go back to the beginning, and we're going to have a look at a bit of an improvising. I've gone too far. All right. So. Remember, the B natural is the note that's not part of the key, but we're adding in stuff there. What's next? A flat, isn't it? Oh, F minor. Outside. I'm going to go to a C there, just because I felt like that, you know, it was heading down there. But I'm still kind of I'm still thinking of that as an A flat chord in my mind. Maybe I should be playing an A flat instead of the B flat there, or both. I love when Keith Jarrett did something like this, and I mean, he does it a lot better, obviously, because he's Keith Jarrett, right? That's nice, isn't it? So there's a couple of beautiful chords there. I feel like this tutorial was a little bit all over the place, but I think because it was, you know, partly because it was. But I'm hoping there is some things that you could get out of today's lesson. So anyway, guys, all the best. I'll see you again for day 10, our last one. Someday my prince will come. We'll play it a little bit faster. We'll do a little bit more with the improv side of things as instead of the chord side of things. I'm going to be looking in the key of B flat if you want to grab that. I'm going to use the Real Books version of that, the new Real Books version of that as well. All right, guys, catch you soon. Ciao.